Good evening, everybody from Fir Park, and we hope we can hear you over this music that the DJs decided to turn up at 11 just before we came on here, Chris, which hopefully bodes well for the rest of the evening. How are you feeling before we get into the team? Are you all feeling optimistic about this evening?
If you'd asked me 10 minutes ago before the team came out, then yes, I was looking forward to it. I did the show with Stevie this morning, predicted a 2-1 Rangers win. Still fancy Rangers to get the job done, but maybe just in a slightly different manner than initially expected, as we can see from the comments and a bit of social media action since that team was announced.
Yes, the comments have went on fire in the last 5 minutes. So I think it's all to do with this, Chris. Let's bring up that starting 11. And this is what Danny Rule has went with for the trip to Fir Park this evening. Jack Butland in goals. We think it's a flat back four of James Tavernier, John Souttar, Nasser Gia and Jayden Megoma. In midfield, Tochi Chugwani, Mohamed Diamande, Nico Raskin. And then up front, Jedi Osama, Mikey Moore and Yusuf Chermite. A lot to unpack there, Chris. Obviously, no Emmanuel Fernandez, no Tua Romans, no Andreas Skov-Olsen, no Ryan Nadiri. I think, as we put it just before we came on, we had 3 goes at attempting to pick this line-up and not one of us get anywhere near it.
I think a quick look at it, I got 5. I think I went for Butland, Souttar, Chugwani, Nico and Mikey Moore. Not my best effort.
Yeah,
we played this game on the Rangers Review for a number of seasons now, trying to predict team lines. Sometimes we get a wee bit closer than others, and a very rare occasions we actually get it spot on. But that's not a lineup that I saw for tonight. So, do you want to start at the back or do you want to start at the top?
Well, we'll start off with the bench for people that haven't seen that yet. So on the bench tonight, Liam Kelly, Emmanuel Fernandez, Tua Romans, Dujon Sterling, Tello Asgard, Oliver Antman, Andreas Skov-Olsen, Ryan Nadiri and Bojan Majowski. Now, one positive is it's a very strong bench. There is plenty of quality to come off the bench. Now, the fact that it isn't in the starting 11 may be something that a lot of Rangers fans are going to see on their way to Lanarkshire here tonight and think, what has he done? Let's start at the back. Nasser Gia retaining his place in the side from the last few games. It looks as though Emmanuel Fernandez, of course, he is on the bench this evening, but just not fit enough to start. So Giga does seem like the natural alternative in there. I think the biggest shock in that back line for me, now I did predict that James Tavernier was going to start, the biggest shock in that back line is Jayden Megoma coming in for Tua Romans.
That's the one that stands out. I think you can maybe justify Fernandez saying, depending on the severity of the issue that he's had, we don't know how much training he's actually had. The manager obviously spoke pre-match yesterday and said that he would be in the squad. Like he said last week, he's back training on Monday, so it's not an awful lot of build-up time for Fernandez. So you can talk your way around that one fairly easily. Megoma is a harder one to justify for me. I think Romans has looked really impressive since he's come in. Danny Rule might say he also arrived with that knock. They had to build him up. You don't want to put too much load on him too early. Of course, no player is going to play every single minute of every single game, but you just feel get through today, get through the weekend, and you've then got a week heading into Livy. That's maybe more an opportunity to people. It might seem a bit harsh on Jayden Megoma. I think he's been a fairly steady performer over the course of the season. I think he can be happy with his efforts over the course of the season. But there's been such a lot of love for Romans. I think people just turned up here expecting him to be in that side. So that's an interesting one. But for me, the biggest talking point is at the top end of the pitch. I know you went for Chermite. You also had him up top with a strike partner. How do you see him as a lone striker? Because we've kind of seen enough evidence of that to suggest it's perhaps not his bag.
Yeah, I went for Yusuf Chermite in my predicted lineup, basically on the proviso that he would be playing with Ryan Nadiri, because I would like to see them both together. And I think that Yusuf Chermite, for what he is good at, his dropping deep, his link up, his physicality, that's what he can do. I did say this to Josh the other day. You do want more for £10 million, but I think what he does do, he can do quite well. And I think the idea of him playing up front with a strike partner, maybe the perfect foil for him. Up front on his own, we've seen it so many times this season where he has been, I don't want to mince my words, but ineffectual. He has been a waste of a jersey up there at times. And I really hope that's not going to be the case tonight. I think it worries me slightly looking at that lineup. Mikey Moore is going to get isolated out on the left-hand side, unless you're going to have Jayden Megoma really bombing on and letting Mikey Moore come inside in that number 10. I don't know. I like Mikey Moore in the middle. I prefer him in that sort of central area. And I think there is going to be a massive disappointment that Ryan Nadiri isn't on the park, because he's played so well in the last 2 games. I think you've seen what he showed against Queen's Park. You've seen the enthusiasm that he showed against Queen's Park to obviously bag those 2 goals. And I think that everybody turning up here, as a Rangers perspective, would have just wanted to see him on the park. Jedi Gassama's another one that's a little bit of a curveball. Andreas Skov-Olsen, he's came here to much acclaim. He's came here with the big price tag. He's been all the headlines. You would think that these are the kind of games that are set up for him. I mean, when we did our predicted lineups, not to hark back to them again, I think we all just put Skov-Olsen in without even thinking about it. So it's certainly a big one to put Gassama in there.
I think Gassama, what we've seen of late, looks more effective influencing games second half or late on in them.
100% agree with you on that point. I think he looks so much better coming off the bench.
You go into a game, I say so, we're right up the back of the main stand here. The pitch is not exactly a bowling green. It doesn't look as bad as some other pitches in the top flight right now, and at least the game is on. But you'd imagine it's going to take a wee bit out the legs. If you've got Jedi Gassama running at you the last 20 minutes, and you know the turn of pace that he's got, you know the trickery he's got, I think he's a far more effective. I think the modern phrase, to use a Josh Barry phrase, is probably a finisher rather than a substitute these days, isn't it? So I'm surprised that Gassama gets a nod from the start. Now, you could say, as you mentioned earlier, it's a very strong bench. If you've got Skov-Olsen on the bench, what an option it is to be able to go and try and change a game. I would have gone the other way. So it's a big call from the manager. And like you, I would have had Ryan Nadiri in this side somewhere. But I think the way that we've got it shaped up there, the way that Rangers will line up, clearly shows Danny O'Neill wants a solid midfield 3 in there. If you have Nadiri in there, if you have Moore playing at 10, and you have Olsen or you have Ant-Man on the wide, you then sacrifice one of those midfield 3. That's a really solid midfield 3 for Rangers. So Danny O'Neill clearly feels that's an area that Rangers have to win tonight. They have to be on top in the middle of the park. We know the quality that Motherwell have got in there. So he clearly feels that's the best way to, 1, stop Motherwell, but 2, allow Rangers to build into the game and ultimately go and win this game.
I was speaking to your friend and mine, Graham McGarry, yesterday, talking about this Motherwell team, and he said that Tawanda Maswanise is not particularly the man that Rangers have to stop. It's Elijah Just. You need to stop the supply, and I wonder that if by putting that extra man in that midfield, and I think that's why Josh predicted putting 3 in the middle, he's just going to leave a man on Elijah Just and make sure that he doesn't get in to dictate the game, to make any sort of effect on it. Let me put this to you, Chris. Is it actually a lineup that shows Motherwell quite a lot of respect? Because off the ball, I could see that morphing into a 3 at the back, with James Tavernier filling into one of the centre halves, Jedi Gassama coming back as a sort of right wing back, with Jayden Megoma on the other side, and Mikey Moore maybe going to the top of that diamond with Yusuf Chermiti up front on his own. I wonder if Danny Rule is coming here tonight, knowing what Motherwell can do on their day, and has maybe just been a little bit cautious, knowing that he's got so much on the bench that he can go for it in the final 20.
Hopefully the game's won by then. It'd be nice if the game was won by then, but I think you're right. It does show that the manager clearly feels Motherwell are a side to be respected. I think it's easy for Rangers to turn up here and say it's only Motherwell. You have to look at their form. You have to look at what they've done this season on a fraction of the budget of the teams at the top of the table. They've been really, really impressive. I think the last time they conceded a goal here, Daniel Rule was not even Rangers manager, and that's quite a run. So yes, Rangers should be favourites. Yes, Rangers expect to come here and win. Of course, Rangers have to come here and win in terms of the title race. But I don't think you can just turn up and say, let's just go, we'll play all the attacking players. We'll go 4-2-4 and just say, well, let's just go and blow Motherwell away. They may well, they have the quality to go and blow teams away. Will it be tonight? I'd be surprised if that's how Rangers win this game. I think I said 2-1 on the show with Stevie this morning. There's a number of people saying 3-0, 4-1 that really fancied Rangers. I still fancy Rangers to go and win the game. I think it's a starting 11 that's good enough to go and do it. It's certainly a bench that's good enough, if required, to come on and change the game and potentially go and win the game. So I still fancy Rangers to get the 3 points. So let's see. Hopefully, all the people in the comments and the 3 of us sitting up at the back of the stand here, hopefully we're all proven to be wrong in a couple of hours' time.
Yeah. It's been a long 6-7 months since we sat here, Chris, and we watched the first game of the season. If you remember, all the way back, obviously Motherwell equalising in the last minute that day. And on reflection, we never knew how good Motherwell were going to be this season. We just thought at the time that's a really.
We knew then how bad Rangers were going to be.
Yes, we did. Most of us did get an indication of that after those 90 minutes. Yes, but we've come to a point now where we have to trust Danny Rule. We have to, because he's the guy. I'm not going to say single-handedly, because obviously the players have played their part and there's been a bit of a whole culture change, but he is the guy who has dragged Rangers kicking and screaming into this title race. He has got them to the point where we are just now. And if he thinks this is the team that is going to win this game, Danny Rule's not trying to not win this game. He's doing everything he can to get 3 points tonight. And he has a plan, and he thinks this is the best way to execute it. So I say, let's trust him. Let's see how it goes. And if it doesn't go Rangers' way at the final whistle, we can all come back and have a right good moan at full time.
Somebody is going to be right.
Yeah.
And hopefully for all our sakes and for the title race, it's the manager that is right. And as I say, he has earned enough over the last few months to make these big calls. We can all sit here and make a laugh and joke about us not being anywhere near the team lineup.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he's paid to make these big decisions, and he's won enough games. He's done enough to earn that right to go and make these big calls. He will never die by them. As you say, he's not coming here thinking, well, we'll take a point. No, he spoke yesterday about a winning mentality and winning a game and then going again and going again and going again and feeding into that Bayern Munich mentality that he had during his successes there. He's not coming here thinking, take a point and it's a tricky place to go and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
He's coming here to win the game. He's coming here to get 3 points and set up a huge game against Hearts at the weekend. So he has earned the right to pick the side that he wishes to pick, to set the side up in the way that he wishes to set them up, and hopefully he shows why he's the Rangers manager, and we show why we're sitting here.
Yep, absolutely. That'll do us for now on the pre-match show. As mentioned, we've come team handy to Fir Park tonight. Myself, Chris, and Joshua are here with all the coverage throughout the game. So stay tuned across the Rangers Review social media channels for all the updates. We'll be back at full time, myself and Josh, to dissect what's hopefully a Rangers victory. But